Most people are worried about money. That's not a harsh truth, that's just a fact. And with 2025 starting to move into the rearview mirror, a lot of people are looking to next year and they're wanting to make changes. And one of the things they want to change is they want to stop worrying about money so much. And what a lot of those people need to realize is that the reason they are worried about money is simply because they're bad with money. We're talking about incredible people, incredible parents and friends, people who are pillars of their community, people who are incredibly skilled and knowledgeable about the stuff they do, who just freaking suck with money, dude. And of course they do. We don't talk about it as a society. We leave that to self-help books and little people on screens telling us tips and tricks. That's happening right now. But what I think is so beautiful about this time of year, besides the fact that I don't have to hear wonderful Christmas time in Target for another 300 plus days, is that a lot of people are a lot more open to hearing kind of hard truths that will help them make a change. So in honor of 2026, here are 5 hard truths you probably need to hear about money. Truth number 1, you will never make enough money to stop worrying about money. Think about how much money you're making now, and now think back to 5 years ago. Hopefully you're making more money now than you were back then. And I want you to ask yourself, are you really less worried about money now that you have more now than you were back then when you had less? I would guess that for the vast majority of people, the answer is not really. I'm in the incredibly rare and privileged position that I am making literally twice as much money now as I was 5 years ago. And I will be the first one to tell you that if I was still as bad with money as I was 10 years ago, I would not be less stressed about money. I would probably be more stressed. Because being good at making money and being good at handling money are 2 completely different skills. Your income could go up and up and up, but if you don't have any intentionality or plan or purpose around your money, then you're probably just gonna spend more of it. You'll be in the exact same place you were, but you don't need to watch ads on Hulu. I think a lot of us are so stressed about the idea of having to actually manage our money that we just kind of default to the solution being, I need to make so much money that I can't even possibly spend it all. It's like if you wanted to make a bowl of punch for a Christmas party and the bowl you chose was a colander and you're just like pouring punch in and the bowl's not filling up. So you're like, I must need more punch. It's like, no, you need a better punch bowl, baby. Santa baby. I'm sorry I called you baby. That was weird. And that's actually kind of good news because most of us have very, very limited control over how much money we can actually make, but we have a lot more control over what we do with the money we actually have. I think you'll be genuinely floored how much less stress you feel if you just start giving your dollars specific jobs to do before you actually spend them. Because then instead of being like, oh, I make a lot of money, I must be doing well, you actually know what you can afford and what your money is capable of doing. But a lot of people don't want to like sit down and like decide what every dollar is going to do because like that takes time and it can be kind of difficult to make those decisions. So instead they're just kind of like, well, I just check my bank, see if I've got money for it. And if I got money for it, I'll buy it. Which leads us to harsh truth number 2. Your bank balance is a liar. This is not me putting on like a tinfoil hat and being like, the banks are lying to us and money isn't real and we live in a simulation. It's just me saying that a lot of people think that if they look at their bank balance and the number there is higher than the price of whatever they want to buy, then they can afford it. And that's just not true. Like if I wanted to go on a Disney cruise, which is, oh my gosh, $2,000 per person. I don't like Mickey that much. So $8,000 for my family. If I have $8,001 in my bank account, can I afford to go on a Disney cruise? Technically, yes, except that I want to keep living in my house and I want to keep the lights on and I like having internet so I can watch Only Murders in the Building. Your bank balance can only tell you how big your pile of money is. It can't tell you everything your money needs to do. And this is what gets people into trouble with overdraft or putting things on credit cards or just feeling squeezed, is because they think that they can just trust their bank balance and then something comes up that they forgot about or something hits them out of nowhere. And all of a sudden they realize that the thing they bought earlier, they couldn't really afford that. And their bank balance told them they could. And that's not the bank balance's fault. It's doing its job. It's telling you how much money you have. You're the one who's asking it to do something it can't do, like it's Russell Crowe in Les Mis. On the doorway to paradise of those who fall. You need an actual plan. You need to sit down and make some decisions and say, this money is for this and this money is for this. That's how you get the clarity you need to stop worrying. A lot of us just spend until there's some signal from our bank account that we need to pump the brakes. And That's not really a great way to live, to just keep jumping higher and higher until you smack your head on the ceiling. And what makes this even worse is rather than looking at the ceiling and like measuring it and deciding how much you want to, this metaphor is breaking down. The problem is that a lot of people instead turn to the solution of just making that ceiling artificially higher. Which brings us to our third harsh truth. Just because you can afford the payment doesn't mean you can afford the thing. The idea that there are some things that you simply can't afford has all but become taboo in our society because we keep inventing new ways to make it so we can't afford the thing. We've got credit card offers, we've got loans, we've got buy now, pay later apps, all things that are made much easier to access, by the way, because you can just do it on your phone. Every once in a while, my credit card app just has a little button that says request credit limit increase. And the other day I pushed it, and you know how long it took me to get a credit limit increase? 10 seconds. $5,000 more from Discover because I pushed a little button they put in the app. And like right now, in my credit card app, if I scroll down, it's offering me another credit card. We simply do not believe in ceilings. We are living in roofless houses and we are all getting wet. The vast majority of debt is some form of paying more money for something in order to have it now. And a lot of us, if you just offered us that option, would not take it. But that's not how it gets marketed to us. It gets marketed to us as the cheaper option. Your minimum payment is only this much. You can break this into 4 weekly payments. It has the optics of being affordable and accessible. It's like they're trying to give you a pill the size of your thumb, and in order to get you to swallow it, they're just chopping it into bits until you're willing to gulp it down. And I'm not even saying like all debt is bad, never use debt. We pay for everything with our credit card. We just always pay it back in full with money we actually have. And we just took out a home equity loan to cover some much needed repairs on this house. But we did that because we sat down and we figured that the damage and the cost of letting these things continue to be the way they are in our house would be more than simply getting a loan with a certain interest rate and paying that over time. But that was an intentional choice made by looking at the trade-offs. The current credit debt industry isn't encouraging you to do that. They just want you to see a small number that you can afford and pull the trigger, click boom. They don't want you to think about the interest you're going to be paying, and they don't want you to think about how much of your future income is being tied up to pay this thing back. One of the things that makes us bad with money is we don't see debt as a last resort or a calculated trade-off. We just see it as a cheaper way to get things because everybody is in debt. And I'm telling you, man, that's one of the things that is stressing you out. And part of what gets us into this problem is we don't realize truth number 4. Your monthly expenses aren't actually your monthly expenses. Think about the things that have really tripped you up financially. If you're in a really, really tight spot with money, it might be things like groceries or the electric bill, but for a lot of us, those aren't the things that trip us up. It's all the other stuff. It's a leaky fridge or a popped tire or a traffic ticket or a subscription you forgot about, or the fact that somehow every year the holidays keep happening. It's so easy to get your blinders on and only focus on like, okay, what's happening this month? But so many of the things that we spend money on just don't happen on a schedule like that. So at minimum, you need to start stockpiling some money for savings so that you have something for that. Even better, start actively preparing for those specific expenses. If you think your car is gonna live forever, I'm sorry, it's just not. And if I had to guess, I would guess that most of your family and friends aren't just going to spontaneously skip the holidays next year. If you start integrating those non-monthly expenses into your regular plan, then you have a much more holistic look at your money. You know how much you are prepared for if the car breaks or if something needs to be repaired in your home. You know that when your AAA renews, you're going to have the money for it. Or when the holidays come around again, you've got money to get little Timmy a gift. Maybe some platform shoes so that YouTubers will stop calling him little Timmy. I know that sounds overwhelming, but I'm telling you, if you can identify what kind of your core non-monthly expenses are and just start setting aside money for them, keep doing that, you're gonna find that all of a sudden you feel less stressed about those things. And you'll be less dependent on a credit card or a payment plan to cover those things. And if it feels like the walls are closing in a little bit, then let me offer what's kind of a hard truth, but also kind of a liberating one. Abundance is nice, but scarcity is helpful. I know that scarcity is like a dirty word on finance YouTube, especially with like the 5 million YouTubers who are trying to help you to cultivate an abundance mindset. And listen, I'm not telling you that you need to have a scarcity mindset where it's like, there's never enough and everything is zero sum and it's me or it's them. I'm not telling you to do that. That's not helpful. But what I am telling you is that your money is finite. You only have so much. So many of us live as if the money is just gonna come from somewhere eventually. But also most of us know that's not true. So we live in this like pseudo state of like unearned optimism paired with low grade anxiety. It's like going on a hike with your eyes closed. You just keep taking steps forward and hoping that there isn't a tree or like a cliff drop. And a lot of us are unwilling to open our eyes because we're just not willing to accept the finiteness of our own money. But that finiteness has power, because when you realize you only have so much money, you start to realize how important your spending decisions actually are. You start to see your choices as trade-offs that you're making, and that forces you to reflect on like, what kind of life do I want to live? What's more important to me? What risks am I willing to take? That's where your agency comes in. That's where your power and freedom to choose comes in. And if you can grow that muscle, if you can refine that skill of making a choice between this or that to decide what kind of life you want to live, you're going to be a lot happier when it comes to money and a lot less worried. Because that's really all that being good with money is. It's spending money in a way that aligns with the life you want to live, and doing that with both feet firmly on the ground instead of both ears firmly buried in the sand. I wanted to make that parallel and I'm not sure that worked, but you know what I mean. I believe that 2026 could be the year where you stop worrying about money, or at the very least, start a journey to the place where you stop worrying about money. And so if you want to see how you can take these hard truths and turn them into something actionable that you can use in your everyday life to actually get good with money, then you can check out this video right here. And I just want to stress something that I think is so important before you go. I believe that you can get good with money because I believe that being bad with money is just a skill issue. You are not bad with money because you are a bad person or a broken person or a dumb person or a lazy person or any of that. You are bad with money for the same reason I'm bad at the bagpipes. You haven't learned how to be good with it and you haven't practiced. So let's make 2026 the year where you do that.